but I'll never do it.
It might happen. Sure, the monkeys might fly out of my butt. I don't think so.
I don't see it happening.
Hey, it's me, Jon.
And me, Louise.
This is I Have a Great Idea, but I'll Never Do It. And we are talking about all of those amazing 2 a.m. ideas we scribble on a piece of paper and then wake up and say, what was I even thinking? Who am I? Where am I?
Or about the ideas where we're like so frustrated and we're like, why doesn't this thing just exist? But we're not going to make it. So somebody else go do it and make it and we'll buy it.
Yeah. And also, I'm just going to say this right at the top. If you have a great idea that you want us to talk about, you can leave us a voicemail by calling 304-804-IDEA. We'll play it on the show. We'll talk about it. You can email us greatideapod@gmail.com. But yeah, I don't know. Louise, we are talking about home decor ideas on this episode. And I hear somebody told me you've got a great one.
I do. I've got a couple great ones, but I'll start with...
Okay.
Hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a projector, like a laser pointer thing, but it's in the shape of a traditional frame. And what you would do is, before purchasing a print on the internet that you can change the size of, you would project the size up onto the wall. So, for example, you've got some kind of blank space and you're like, it's got to be 16 by 20. It's got to be. And instead of having to find a piece of paper big enough for you to cut out, slap up on the wall and think, could we go bigger with this? Or that's way too big. What was I thinking? You just somehow set up your little projector. It like projects down onto the surface that you've set it on. And it's like, if you can fit a credit card perfectly within these lines, the scale is correct. And then it projects up onto the wall the twisted settings, or the punch them in on your phone and it pairs to the device. I don't know. Look, I'm not making it. I just want it. 30 by 44, 20 by 30, like whatever it is for the dimension of the thing that you think you might want to purchase. And then you can go, you know, that TV sounded big, but we can go bigger. Or I really liked the size of that print, but turns out after we frame it, it's going to be way too big for that spot.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I don't have a classy name.
You don't need a classy name when you've got an idea that good.
Hey. I love it.
I like it. Can I ask you, what was the impetus for this idea?
You can. Every single interior person that we spoke to said, do not do with your kitchen sink what you want to do with it. And you know what we said? Too bad. We want to do it. And it's not put the sink in front of a window. And I know everybody likes to look out the window while doing dishes, but guess who doesn't? Me, this lady right here.
Right.
So we have a wall that separates the sink from the dining area in a makeshifty, it's not a galley kitchen, but it could be functional as a galley kitchen. Anyway, we did not come up with a plan for the space above our sink, above the backsplash tile.
Right.
And we were like, we'll get to that. No worries. We don't need a plan. It's fine. And our kitchen has been done for about 2 years. And it remains blank with no artwork, with no idea for it. And over the break, I was looking at prints. And I was like, it's got to be 30 by 44. It's got to be. And then I got the
30 by 40. That's a big space.
It's a big blank space. And so I was like, 30 by 44. It's got to be. And I get out the tape measure and I sort of do it this way. And I up axis and portrait axis and landscape axis. And I'm looking and I'm using the measuring tape. And like, look, some people are different kinds of people. I'm a super visual type. And I need to kind of see it. And I think I've settled on that's how big it needs to be. Now, my more practical partner in life is like, that's going to be way too big.
Okay.
And I'm like, no, I think that's the right size. And he's like, we got to get out some old wrapping paper and cut this out and tack it up there and take a look. And I'm like, yeah, but the wrapping paper, it like curls a little and you got to make it flat. We're going to have to tack it up there, and then it's wasting the wrapping paper. And also, it might not be like tall enough, long enough, whatever. And so you can wrap a lot of gifts with that amount of paper. And I was just thinking, you know how painters and construction people just have like a little, and they project like a little dot or a line or whatever.
Laser.
Like we have the technology. Let's just take it one step further.
The technology.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to hold back on what I was going to say because it would roll too perfectly into my idea. So we're going to come back to your situation. I want to also go back to the whole sink in front of a window situation. And there are a few things that come to mind. First of all, so many times I know that like when you're doing design stuff or even when you're like buying a new home, the thing that you always hear is about the resale value. And it's like, just let me live in the house I want to live in and let me worry about the resale value. You can tell me like, a sink in front of a window, if you're thinking long term, might not be as appealing for people, for resale. However, I know that you're a creative person. I can tell that about you. And I'm sure that you would create something that if somebody saw it in a listing in, let's say, optimistically 20 years, then they would be like, I never thought of that. And I love that idea because I agree with you. My sink, I'm looking at it right now, is right in front of a window. And I know that if somebody were to walk alongside of my house and look inside that window, I hope they're not doing it, but they would see kitchen crap and they would see a drying rack. And it's just like, that's not pretty. Yeah. I would much rather they see something that looks nice and tidy rather than thinking, this guy is a mess in the kitchen. So when I'm doing dishes, I'm not looking out the window. I'm looking at the dishes.
Also, side note, it's not the 50s. We all have dishwashers now, most of us, unless you're living in a New York City apartment that doesn't have one, in which case I'm so sorry. Or an apartment anywhere. But like most of us have one. For many reasons. Right. I don't need to be standing at the sink for 30 or 45 minutes doing all of the dishes for the entire day.
Right.
I'm washing the few pieces that don't go in the dishwasher.
Sure. Yeah. Or washing by hand the things that the dishwasher didn't wash effectively.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I'm doing that, I'm focused on what I'm doing. I'm not looking out the window at the neighbor kids flip over the handlebars of their bicycles or like not make a basket 5 million times. I don't need to see that.
Yeah. 100% agree. I'm with you completely.
Yeah.
All right, Louise. I need to go into my idea because it flows so perfectly with yours. Because what I wanted to say before is that one of the things that you could do if you didn't want to waste wrapping paper or a cardboard box or whatever, painter's tape. You frame out what you're thinking of doing size-wise with painter's tape, and if you find a piece of art that you like, but it's smaller and you have the budget to get some sort of frame that has a mat that like makes it fill that space, that's your option. The projection situation is a much cooler way of doing it. But in a pinch, there's always painter's tape, which is why my idea is for cool decorative purposes. And I feel like the Frog Tape Company. Okay. Totally. I recently was painting a bathroom, but I was doing like kind of an accenty thing where it's like there's just basically a straight line, and on one side of it is color, one side of it is white. And the tape that I was using, which was like the Scotch blue tape, you cannot get a crisp line.
Right.
It looks bad. Frog tape, the green tape, nice, crisp line. It is gorgeous. And so I feel like frog tape is the one that I want to go to with this one. But what I'm thinking is like maybe you get like a giant, sheet, and there are big shapes. And so, maybe not necessarily just like standard, like perfect circle, but like some sort of cool amoeba type shape, and, something like a zigzaggy kind of a thing. And you can peel off these, guides and slap them on your wall. And, you could take them off and move them around so you can see better places, and you can combine a few and whatever, so that when you're painting and you don't want to do it freehand, you have like a cool, funky guide that's getting you, a lot of the way there.
Yeah, like a reverse stencil.
A reverse stencil, because you're doing the outside of it. Yeah, exactly. So I feel like we are so in sync with our home decor ideas, and I love it. I feel like we're going to revolutionize the way that people decorate their walls.
I love it. I don't know if I should hold back on my second idea because it's so close to this one, or if I should just let her rip.
Okay. We're going to cap it at 2 ideas each for this episode.
Okay.
So Louise, if you're feeling the flow, let's feel the flow.
I'm feeling it. Here it goes. We are in the process of redoing our main space. I won't call it a living room, but our main space. It's been kind of in transition since we moved, based on poor decisions, in our opinion, that the previous owners or the previous owners made about speaker placement and whatever else. So we've cut into this wall a number of times and then not patched it properly. And there's just like holes that we've been like, put a picture over that hole for now. And it doesn't matter what it looks like because we're going to change it eventually. Now's the time. Okay. But we've been having deep discussions about what to do. Do we want a calming space, a modern space, a moody space? Hear me out. It's going to come back around. Kindle now makes color Kindles. So it's e-ink for your walls. So that you're able to change the paint color without actually painting. And because it's not like a light, it's not emitting any thing, and it doesn't require any additional energy. It's like when you turn off your Kindle, but the picture stays on the front of the Kindle. Okay, it's that for your walls, so that if you feel like you're a little bit bored, or your mood has changed, or the season is changing and that color doesn't look good in that light anymore, you can just tweak it. E-ink for your walls.
I love it. There's also a company called Remarkable that does like an e-ink tablet that you can write on, and they just introduced a color version of that. And so the technology is there. Granted, this could be a very expensive endeavor, but I know that like powering an e-ink display is much less power consumptive than a regular screen. And do you envision that it would be like rollable, like wallpaper, or is it like made to order, like the dimensions of your wall, and then there needs to be like an installer for it?
Yeah, I didn't think that far about it. Into it. It probably would have to be a custom thing, but in my head, it's kind of like, it's not a one and done, because like anything with technology, there's going to be some kind of an update or some kind of a, maybe we start and there's only 25 colors available, and then somebody, inevitably is like, I want this particular shade that's not available and we got to wait for this update or whatever. But in terms of like the resale of the house, that let me just live in it. Right. One of the things that people freak out the most about, that I will never understand, is paint colors. Because paint is so inexpensive. Now, if you do it yourself, if you have a giant room and you're going to pay somebody else to do it, it gets to be like, now you're paying for the labor, obviously.
Right.
Lord knows I don't want to paint all these surfaces and the ceiling. But an e-ink wall, summertime, feeling the groove, bright, like, florally looking mood.
Sure.
In the winter, I don't want that. That's annoying. But what I would kind of want is like a really warm, sort of Scandi vibe, and like to be able to be like, you know what? Robot lady, change it up.
Sure.
That is very appealing to me.
And also, it doesn't need to just be solid colors. It can be patterns. It can be all sorts of stuff.
You're living it. You're living it up. I love
Well,
it.
also, just thinking about e-ink displays, like there are so many stores, Walmart, Best Buy, they use e-ink for their tags for merchandise on the racks. So it's easy for them to change out. They don't have to like print a new thing every time. They just program it so that it does what it needs to do. So it's like, we've got the technology, people.
We've got it. We've got
it. I like it. I mean, with e-ink, you're not going to get like a rich color spectrum. It's going to be limiting, but to be able to have the options, also for anybody who likes to change things up, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Okay. I got one more like home decor-y kind of a thing.
Okay.
This is more of a textile situation, but Louise, I don't know if you have this issue, but so I have a queen size bed. That's not the issue. I'm very happy with it. But the duvets and the comforters and whatever else I have, when you lay them out over it, I feel like they don't cover enough of the sides. They don't drape down enough over the sides. But if I was to get like a king size thing, it'd be too much. Mm-hmm. So I feel like we need to have a kind of like a queen plus, or like an extra wide queen or something like that, so that you get that nice like draping effect. I mean, truth be told, it's, length and width. So it's really just kind of on all sides. Just give me like, 6 more inches on each side just to get that nice draped look.
Yeah.
And whatever company does this first can also create the duvet covers that are only going to work with this situation. Mm-hmm. Like, you can really capitalize on this and make it really nice. I know this is like a small idea. I'm never going to do it, but like,
No.
I feel like it's necessary. I don't know. Do you have any issues like this?
Well, the only thing I can think of at the moment that is even remotely like this is my child is in a floor bed. She's always been in a floor bed except for when she was in the SNU. And my good friend Jon told me about zip sheets.
Oh,
I don't know if
that's
what
me.
they're
I told you
called.
about that.
Yeah, that's you. I don't know if that's really what they're called, but that's what they do. And I'm sure multiple companies do them. Anyway, the ones that are on her bed. Now, we also have the kind of floor bed that when you flip it over and then move the slats and put the mattress down, it like lifts it another foot off the ground. So we recently, turned it into a big girl bed. Now,
Nice.
my child just turned 4. She's a tiny 4. She's like in the 8th percentile. So we're just going to like let this crib size floor bed ride as long as we possibly can, because we are thinking the next bed this child gets is taking her through high school. Okay.
Yeah.
This long roundabout way for me to say, I love those zip sheets. I want them again.
Right.
Guess what happens when you move to a bigger size? We'll call it a twin.
Tell me.
It's only available in white.
Really?
They make the king and the queen, I believe, in other colors, no patterns, just colors, solid. But it goes from, we have these really cool, they're not sparkly, but they're like oblong-y, kind of pebbly, white and gray. I think they're really groovy. Crib size. And the second we go to twin, white only. And I'm like, that is boring.
That is boring.
So that's the kind of petty bedding textile-y problem that I have at the moment. I will say though, if they can make, I grew up in a twin, like I went from a crib to a twin, and then when I went from high school to college and they were like, it's a twin but it's extra long, I was like, even bigger. And most people were like, this is a tiny bed, and I was very happy just to be whatever, and I didn't even need it longer because I am a short person. But if they can make a extra long twin and special sheets for all that.
Right.
My goodness, Queen Plus. Why are we even talking about this?
Right. And just to go back a little bit, for anybody who wants a more of an explanation of these zip sheets. So let's say you have a fitted sheet, but the fitted part goes along the bottom of it, and along the edges there is one side of a zipper, and then you just have a bunch of flat sheets that you zip onto that side, so that you only have to unzip those and wash those. I mean, you wash the other thing, but not nearly as frequently.
Yeah.
And it makes doing laundry so much easier, and also like folding sheets, because I've been on a fitted sheet journey.
The bed
What's
easier. It makes making the bed easier.
It makes making the bed
instead
easier.
Of like
yeah.
trying to do gymnastics and like pull one corner over one corner, and then like you got it the wrong way, you don't have to think about it. You hook it in, you zip it around.
What I do for my kid's bed is I basically put the corners or the edges on 3 of the corners, and then I lift the mattress and set it on its side and pull the 4th one over, so that I'm not having to like climb over it and pull the sheet and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And as you launder and dry and launder and dry and launder and dry, fabrics, the ones we have, tend to like stretch in different ways or tighten in different ways. Whereas with the zip, that's fighting itself. Like, I'm not fighting that. I'm laying it on top. I'm zipping it around. Ding, ding, ding. Done. When the elastic gets pulled in a weird way, we have a pair of sheets for our adult bed, which is a king, and I do have to do gymnastics with that because I can't lift up a king mattress all by myself and turn it on its side. But it was so effortless at the beginning to stretch that puppy on, and now I'm like, oh, this fitted sheet.
I know. Yeah. I've been on my own bedsheet journey. For longtime listeners of this podcast, you may remember past ideas as top sheets for the homeless. Basically, I was so anti-top sheet. I've come around. I'm a top sheet guy now.
Wow.
I know. People can change, Louise. People can change.
I believe in miracles. Wow.
It's growing up, I guess.
Yeah.
I
love it.
Yeah.
Proud of you, buddy.
Thanks, bud. I appreciate it. I want to shift gears now and celebrate a great idea in the wild. And so this is something that I found on Kickstarter that is such an us type of idea that we have to talk about it. This is something out of Bristol, UK, and it's on Kickstarter. It says 3 days to go at the time we're recording this. I'm going to put a link to it in the show notes. It says it only has 9 backers. It only has raised $7,500 out of a pledged $12,000, and it is called the Pet Minda Pooch Parking. As anybody who listens to this show knows, we love our dogs, and we would do anything for them. So
yeah,
I'm going to read you a little bit about Pooch Minda. So I'm going to let's see the best way to do this. Product development. After 9 months of hard work, RGR Engineering's client Pet Minda have launched their first collection of pet minding pods, and they'll be rolled out in 2025. Designed with comfort and safety in mind, it keeps your pet cozy and secure so you can focus on your tasks without worry. And so I'm going to show you a little bit about what these look like. So they're pods like that. You know what? I'm going to take their video and we're going to edit into the episode right now.
Meet Linda. Linda is a working professional, and before work she goes out for a run with her dog. But today she has to go shopping and is worried about leaving her dog unsupervised, so she leaves for the market alone. This is Josh. Josh loves to take his dog on adventures, but today he has a shopping list to complete and is worried about leaving his dog in the hot car, so he will have to drive all the way home to drop the dog off before returning to the shops. What can we do to fix the problem? Meet Pet Minda. Pet Minda provides fully automated temperature control, secure individual pet pods situated outside supermarkets and shopping centers, which allow customers to temporarily accommodate their animal while they shop. The pods are operated with your smartphone. All you need to do is go to www.petminda.co.uk, register your account, choose the pod and click Unlock. Set all your dog in the pod, lock the door with the app, and go shopping. After shopping, you open the web app and press Unlock Door, press Finish Stay, and you're all done. Pet Minda pods are 100% designed, developed and manufactured in the UK. Secure cashless payment system, charged per time. Use climate control air conditioning U, VCC, procedure after each use, killing 99.99% of bacteria and pathogens. F10 veterinary grade disinfectant wipes and sanitary bags within each pod. Pet Minda, a connected world for pets.
Okay, so it's Pet Minda, not Pet Minda. Louise, what do you think?
I have a lot of opinions.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, as a person who's in love with my animal, yes, 5 million times. And as a person who lives in the world with a bunch of scumbags, I see this being a very scary situation. Because the air-conditioned pod in the comfortable range that I might put my dog might not be the range that somebody else puts their dog. Or is this going to be like a place where people abandon their animals and then because they locked it with their phone, we can't unlock? I mean, I don't know. My brain just spirals to the horrible people that live in the world. But as a person who's like out in the world, wants to bring my dog everywhere, my mom's dog barks like you would not believe. And so she declines invites to things because she like doesn't want to not bring him. But if she's the kind of person that's like, well, it's winter and it's only 32 degrees outside and that's freezing. So if I run into the store for 2 minutes, he's fine because the inside of the car isn't going to get that cold because she's from Iowa and 32 degrees isn't that cold. So he'll be fine. And I'm like, if you don't mind that possibly someone will break through your passenger window to save your dog from being abandoned in your car, then go ahead and leave him there. But I wouldn't do that. So if you can just leave him at home while you run your errands, that would be best. And this solves that. Because
This
it's
does
like
solve that.
societally, we're like, look, it's a place pets go.
They're temperature controlled.
Yeah.
They have a shatterproof door, and it says a fail-safe design. I don't know how they're doing that. There's sterilization. I could see also a world in which you can rate the condition of the thing before you get in there, like before you close the door, let's say.
Yeah.
So if like the person before you left it a mess, you have a way of like indicating that. I think that this is a great alternative to the people who leave their dogs on leashes, like tied around a bicycle,
Yes.
rack.
Yes.
And I see it as the alternative to that because I could never do that.
No.
I could never do that. Leaving a dog in a car, I mean, my dog is just like, he's going to go all over the place and I'd be more worried about the condition of the car than somebody like breaking the window and grabbing him. I don't think that that's a concern, or breaking the window trying to save him, because I mean, if you leave the window open a tiny little crack, even if it's cold out, it's at least airflow. But and I'm talking about wintertime. Summertime, I would never do any of that shit. And credit to the car companies, and I will not name any by names, but the ones that do have the setting, and this is electric cars, that have the setting where you can say, my dog is in the car. On the screen, it says, it is in dog mode. There is air circulation. This dog is safe. Do not break the damn windows.
Right.
So, if you don't have that, but you also don't want to leave your dog tied to a bike rack, then Pet Minda could be the solution for you. So, if it's still on Kickstarter by the time you're listening to this, and you feel like it's something you want to donate to, back the project and check it out. The link will be in the show notes.
this is like a thing like electric cars maybe. And people were like, no way, no, how will we charge them? And it's like, well, if you start to swing into this kind of thinking, it's something we're all really going to benefit from. So get on board. And like the more it's used and the more people see it used, the more... I mean, I'm very excited about it because I believe in myself and I believe in you and I believe the company that I keep would be very like psyched and humane about it. I get nervous for people that I don't have as much faith in. I know that's a terrible place to be, but that's where I am, 2025.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy New Year. So, Louise.
Yeah.
You challenged me on our last episode to come up with an idea for alternative usage for bangs punctuation.
Yes.
An exclamation point, for example. And I have been trying so hard to figure out even what you mean by So, I thought about things that had to do with bang punctuation. And a lot of it is like, it goes back to people who are just like, oh, you can't use that many exclamation points in an email and you sound crazy and blah, 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 blah. And I feel like there are tools out there that use, I don't even know if it's AI, but it's, something that says like, hey, you might want to tone it down, bro. This sounds a little crazy, but that's not really what you're talking about. You're talking about alternative usage for bangs punctuation. So I'm
reimagined.
Yeah, I think that I'm just a little at a loss for this one because I do love the interrobang, which I don't feel is used enough, which is the combination exclamation point question mark. And that to me is like, we did it. We figured it out. The greatest punctuation moment ever. You just combine the two. You can't do that with other punctuation marks.
No.
Oh, the alternative is just going question mark exclamation point or vice versa.
Right.
So I don't know, Louise. You really stumped me with this one.
Okay. Well, get ready for your mind to be blown. Because as we were sitting here, I'm trying to tie it into what we previously talked about too. And I don't know where I read this, and I don't even know if it's true, but emojis were basically invented kind of for Abraham Lincoln because he was so weird. They'd be like putting like colon parentheses to signal to Abraham Lincoln in the speech, smile at this part.
Really?
Oh, okay,
So emoticons.
That's what I mean, emoticons. Colors, babe. We do bangs in different colors. Because here's the thing, too. And then going to emojis and like e-ink and changing the colors on the walls or whatever. Like, I use emojis quite a bit because I find them quite fun. So I use them in my texting life. And there is a double bang. I don't know if that has a word. It's only red. Why? Red is not my preference. It's a power color, and you got to be really careful with it, especially for an Aries, if you believe in that stuff, which I sometimes do. Not all the time. Sometimes I pick and choose. Sue me. But I'd like to not use red.
Okay.
But I think even when you're typing a research paper for effect, or you're a playwright and you're writing a script and you want it executed in like a certain kind of way, the different color bang evokes a different meaning or expression.
Yeah. I like
That's it. That's
okay,
just
that
one.
makes sense to me. Okay, you did my homework for me.
Hey, we're here to support each other.
Colors, babe, is where we're at.
Colors, babe. Okay. You challenged me to alternatives to Thanksgiving traditions. Yep. And here's what I came up with, because I feel like I also failed the assignment. But I don't know if we talked about this before. Thanksgiving is my least favorite holiday. Like,
okay,
I
go
would
on.
put Arbor Day above this. Love Arbor Day. I do not like. No, thank you.
It's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It's a lot of preparation. Mm-hmm. And the point is to eat foods that you don't normally eat that maybe aren't as delicious as the foods that you do normally eat.
Okay.
And you're forced to travel at a certain time to see people out of obligation.
And eat dinner at 3:00 in the afternoon.
I mean, my family would eat quite early, but that's because we don't want to be around each other any longer than we have to be. So it's like, look, if you drive 4 hours and you leave at 9 a.m., we're eating at 1, we're eating for an hour, and then you can get back in the car after pie and you can still be home by 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. And that's a long round trip, but we put in the effort.
Right.
Other families, other things, love that for them. Okay. The homework is for alternatives to Thanksgiving traditions. We white elephant Yankee swap this.
Ooh.
Every year, we put different holidays in a hat and we draw it out. And for Thanksgiving, surprise, it's New Year's. And so we're drinking till midnight and we're not meeting up with family and we're partying with friends if we want to. Or if we are a PJs and in bed by 9 o'clock kind of person, we get to have that. Because that's what we do.
I love it.
And so
that's so good.
If it happens to be Halloween, my second favorite holiday, baby, you get that holiday twice, like lickety split within a 4-week span.
When do you draw the holiday?
To each his own.
Okay, here's what I'm wondering, because if you draw Halloween and Halloween hasn't happened yet, then November 1st, I stock up on the candy that's at discounted prices. I get all the decorations that are at discounted prices. So is this kind of like a, July 1st or is this a New Year's Day thing where it's just like, well, this year, or is it the day of Thanksgiving you draw it for the next year?
I don't think you can do it the day of Thanksgiving. And the only reason that I say that is because you would need to halfway know what it is in order to like prepare properly for it.
Oh, but no. You're drawing it for the following year.
Oh.
So you have an entire year to prepare.
Okay, I love that. I also feel like if you happen to get the what's the opposite of no whammies?
Whammies?
Okay, whammies. But wait, the whammies are bad, right?
Yes.
Okay, the good.
You have pressed your luck. You got a whammy.
Okay, but if you happen to draw Halloween and you get it twice, you don't have to take that stuff down. You get a bonus almost month of those decorations.
Louise, brilliant. So good. So I love it. Perfect. I want to do this, first of all. I want to institute this. I'm not a big holiday guy, but I do like the idea of doing something weird and something different. And I love that. So on Thanksgiving, I had a lot of those, just this past Thanksgiving, I was having a lot of those, thoughts of just like, geez, like it's a day of obligation. As somebody who doesn't eat meat or animal products, it is a day of like, I'm going to have to be surrounded by turkey this and turkey that everywhere I go. And there's going to be a carcass places. And I never want to be a place where there's a carcass. That's just a general life rule for me.
I like that rule for you.
And so for me that day, I was like, all right, this just needs to be a different holiday altogether. I think I came up with some sort of name of it. But then I thought, well, just like Thanksgiving has its one meal, what could the meal be for this Thanksgiving replacement? And Louise, I got 3 words for you. Lasagna. Lasagna.
I like it.
Because lasagna you can have a meaty lasagna if you're a meat eater. You can have a vegetarian lasagna. You can do a vegan lasagna. You can do a gluten-free lasagna if you got creative with it with zucchini noodles or gluten-free noodles. Like a lasagna for every diet. And also lasagna leftovers are I mean, people always talk about like, oh, Thanksgiving leftovers. Lasagna leftovers, people. Lasagna leftovers are always good.
Do you want to know a little secret about the Gassman family?
Tell me.
They strive to not have any leftovers. If that means that people did not get enough to eat at Thanksgiving in order to not have leftovers, they would rather that. So the whole concept even of leftovers and how good they are and having them for days, not in my DNA.
Love it.
Not in mine. And to marry the two, if you happen to draw Cinco de Mayo, you're just having marks all day.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That sounds great to me. I mean, to like, horribly stereotype, but you could also have other things on Cinco de Mayo, not just margaritas. I mean, one could say the same for just drinking Guinness on St. Patty's Day, but I didn't say that.
Well, and also it's like you put in the holidays that you would want to celebrate.
Hey, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I hear the fall is a wonderful time to plant grass seed. So even if you like pulled Earth Day,
sure,
you can just revive, like just go out there.
We're seeding the lawn.
Sprinkle some seed, reseed.
There you go.
That's what I had.
Cool. Well, Louise, for our next episode, I would like to challenge you to, and I know this is going to be so vague, but I'm just going to say non-alcoholic beverages.
Okay. NA Bevs. All right. I have challenged you to fridges.
Ooh, I feel like we've had refrigerator stuff before, but I like it.
Okay. Look, I can't help it if I'm a goldfish, okay?
Well, let me tell you, I love a good refrigerator challenge because there have been so many advancements in refrigerators over the years, and I don't think that I'm interested in any of them.
Yeah.
Just make me one that works.
Hey, how about that?
How about that? Cool. Well, like we said earlier, if you have great ideas, email us, greatideapod@gmail.com. Call us, for Pete's sake, 304-804-IDEA, 304-804-4332, I think. And all of that will be in the episode's show notes. And Louise, all I got to say is thanks for hanging out with me.
Thanks for hanging out with me.
I don't see it happening.